Nueva film from Olivier Assayas, I want to say. He is a director who, a lot of different credits. I mean, the only thing that I had previously seen was Personal Shopper with K-Stu, and then also another, I believe one of the segments in Paris Je t'aime. But yeah, so interestingly enough, though, this is based on a French book entitled Les Mages du KREMLIN. So essentially, translating to the English title that we have here, The Wizard of the Kremlin. And so interesting in my estimation for a French director and even a French novelist, being responsible for the source material, to decide to write about a fictional character that is that starts out in, as the Soviet Union is fading in, Russia and everything, and they are about to just have this change over to this Russian Federation and whatnot. But a young man who goes from just being a art student trying to be a playwright in Moscow in the early 90s when all of this transition is transpiring and everything, and yet finds himself slowly segueing into reality television and then eventually becoming a advisor to none other than Vladimir Putin as he is in the midst of his ascension into power. And so this guy is just really responsible for a lot of media manipulation, and based on from what I understand, at least from some of the research that I was doing on a possible real person, but as there's a disclaimer at the beginning of this movie that, despite being based on a book, it is, fictional characters that are meant for narrative purpose and everything like that. So how much is really, spun in the same way that this character played by Paul Dano does, is anybody's guess, really. But I have to say, despite a great cast that also includes Jeffrey Wright, who Paul Dano's character, who is basically recanting this lengthy life experience of, kind of pulling the strings and working with Putin and everything. He's recanting this to Jeffrey Wright's American journalist character. But you also have Jude Law, actually, who's maybe the standout in this film as a younger version of Putin and everything. But despite some great acting from everybody, but, as much as I really love Paul Dano and a lot of stuff, whether Ruby Sparks or There Will Be Blood, even all the way back to, The Girl Next Door, his character was very grating for me in this movie, and just, a very dull, very everything about this movie is incredibly subdued and kind of dull, really, despite some political intrigue and everything. Politics being the most interesting game worth playing, as his character says at one particular point. It's bloated at well over 2 hours, and just the stakes feel very low, and so this is not a recommend, unfortunately.